now joined by the head coach of those A&M-Commerce Lions. That's Coach David Bailiff. Coach,
how you doing?
It is genuinely good to see you.
Good to see you too. Back to a normal function, which you gotta like.
Oh my goodness, you are not telling any lies there.
You're here in real life and not Zoom. Isn't that
are you
cool?
Are you done with Zoom?
I'm so done with Zoom. You know, it was
man after my own heart.
You needed it, but it's a tool of the devil. You know, I'm so glad now I can just sit here and go back to the way it's been since I was in the 8th grade.
Well, and you're also, the thing is, I know your coaching style. I know that you are a throw an arm around a player kind of coach.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You're a relationship guy, and it's hard to throw an arm around a player on Zoom.
Oh, God. That was, it was what was really tough there, and that it wasn't that we didn't play. It was worrying more about their mental health, and a lot of the counseling wanted to do it by Zoom. You know, and I couldn't understand that, that – if your job's to counsel these kids, you looked at the suicide rates like in the military, they're up 20%.
Sure.
And you look that way around the country. And so then you go, okay, I've got to take care of my team's mental health. This age group's really struggling, and that's what we tried to do. I have 22 6-year guys coming back. They all voted to come back. They voted not to play as soon as the Lone Star Conference said we couldn't compete for it. Conference title, and the NCAA were going to let us have playoffs. So our guys said, why would we want to do that? Let's just train, coach. Let's just get bigger, faster, stronger. And that's what I think. That's what we did. That's what we took advantage of. And as hard as it was not playing, I think it was also emotionally easier on us because we knew what our routine was. Whereas all of a sudden we weren't getting a game canceled on a Friday. You know. So I think we handled it best we could. But it's sure glad to be sitting here.
Well, but that's the thing is that you guys were one of the few teams in the state that didn't play in fall or spring, and that is feels like a calculated risk. You know what I mean? It feels like there's yes, you keep the same routine and things like that, but at the same time, you could have defections. You could have guys say, I want to stay here. I want to go somewhere I can play football. So I imagine that your team voted to not play. But I imagine there were still some white-knuckle times of like, man, is this going to work? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, the one thing, though, I think they love each other. You should see them in the locker room, the fun that they have. They didn't want to let anybody down. And it wasn't I wasn't really worried about attrition or them going somewhere else. And if you hit the portal, that means you weren't playing for me. So I did have some guys leave, but they weren't going to play. Right. And the ones that are going to play are all still here. And I think that's a tribute to the coaching staff and how well they take care of these young men.
You guys are you have the target on your chest. You're the favorite to win the conference again. And one of the reasons is your quarterback, Nicholas Smalls. But I understand, he's the preseason offensive player of the year. Can you tell us a little bit about his status right now? What is the status of Miklo?
Into September, he'll be good to go.
Okay.
So I still think that player, the offensive player of the
year. Think it holds?
I still think it's doable.
Well, and furthermore, I want to be very clear. He's an outstanding player, and I know you're glad to have him. Your team's a lot more than just the quarterback, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah, we have the same 5 starters in the offensive line. We got our running back, Antonio Lieh, he was the first-team All-Conference. He started last year as a 4th-team running back. And then the J.T. Smith, who just was an All-American in track, broke his ankle. And then our next one broke his toe. And the next one broke his hand. And all of a sudden the 4th-team guy was up, and he was first-team All-Conference. Got some great receivers. Obviously, I got Cooper here with me today. Got Kennedy Snell, the transfer from TCU that won the state of Texas in the 100-meter. But Miklo made it all work. Yeah. Miklo had been in this offense for 4 years. He was, started for me at Rice as a freshman. And so he has an understanding of this offense.
You are, this can be a high-flying offensive conference sometimes. But you guys also have the preseason defensive player of the year in Dominique Ramsey. Do you've always you are a guy who you do like to put some of your best weapons on the defensive side. Do you feel like you're kind of zigging when everyone else is zagged, when playing defense the way that you guys do, and flying around? Because this can be a pointsy conference, let's say.
You know, what's crazy is last year we also moved Dom to offense. And we'd put him in our offensive. When we go empty, we'd put him at slot, try to get a mismatch on the linebacker. Because we played Stanford when they had that great running back, and they'd do that to us. And there was nothing we could do with McCaffrey when all of a sudden they went empty.
So he's your Christian McCaffrey.
And yeah, he can do. Dom can do it all.
Yeah.
He's a great returner, great safety, great offensive player. So we try to utilize a lot of them's talent. We got a couple other kids. D'Angelo Ellis that has transferred in that we're going to play probably a starting corner, but also play some wide receiver for us. And we got Lede transferred in from Tulane, big tall receiver that's been with us for a year, just hadn't played yet.
I'll close it out with this. It's going to be about 18 months between games for you. You know what I mean? Have you thought about what it's going to feel like when you do get out on that field? Because you even, I mean, talk about born under a bad sign. You even got your spring game canceled. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, have you given some thought to what you feel like that's going to feel like whenever you do get out there with your guys after what you've been through?
You know, I predict there's a lot of nervous stomachs and a lot of people run into the restroom. Very small pregame meals. You know, there's a sense of excitement around there. You can't wait. You know, and I've done this longer than I hadn't. You know, I love what I do, and I love the profession, and love being around people, and I can't wait. August 7th, we check in. I don't even know how long I've coached, 30-something years, maybe 40, you know, but there's just this unbelievable sense of – and that's what's so fun about this game, too. You get to hang out with 18 to 22-year-olds. So I think I'm 30, you know. You don't age because you're around those guys. And really the only thing that's changed hairstyles, you know.
Well, I got to tell you, Coach. You've always had an excellent quaff.
But you know what? I can't, like I said, we check in August 7th, and it's just pure joy that it's finally going to happen. You know, my biggest fear right now is we got to get people vaccinated. You know, I got to get some guys on our team vaccinated because I don't want to get shut down like we did spring game. I talked to Mike Rhodes, the head coach at VCU at basketball, who got pulled out of March Madness.
That's right.
And he's going to do a Zoom call with our team next week to talk to how emotional that was when his team got yanked out of March Madness. Just still trying to convince guys to educate themselves more because I don't want that to happen to us. You know?
I think you're right. I think that they're you know, and getting that kind of straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, of like, you know, making sure this doesn't happen to you guys, especially when there is such promise in your team this year.
We had Dr. Jawani, who's Houston Astros doctor, talk to him. So we're trying to get him as educated as we can because I understand it's their decision. It's nothing I could, if I could make them do. If I could, I would. But you know, they each got to make a personal decision on what's best for them and ultimately, hopefully, what's best for the team.
Well, Coach, we've waited long enough to see your boys out there. We can't wait to see your Lions take the field here in the fall. We appreciate your time as always. Can't wait to see your boys.
Thanks. Y'all do a great job.
Oh, you don't
appreciate you. Yeah, I do mean it.
Thank you, Coach. David Bailiff, the head coach at the Texas A&M-Commerce Lions, joined us here on Texas Football Today. Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.